Right, I know I've done this video like 10,000 times before, but I don't know. Maybe it's an OCD issue, or maybe I'm actually finding some sort of fun in doing it. Anyway, so the title explains itself, doesn't it? It's yeah, self-explanatory. Doom, how to make the dash Doom perfect. And this is theory, then speedrun. So I'm just going to go through the theory in this, and one day I will actually test the theory, speedrun it, keep doing it over and over, see if I can iterate it, and see how long it takes to set up Doom. Now, I know that this video is already going to take 20 minutes to explain, which completely and utterly sucks. The end goal is to have everything done within a 150-line text file. So I'm just going to read that text file in its current state and tell people that this is not currently Doom perfect. This is what I want to adjust or modify so that the end user does get Doom perfect. I need people's input on it because it needs to be universally acceptable, but at this stage in my life, I might as well just accept that A, is not going to happen, and B, even if it did, I'd probably just be correct anyway. So it's not arrogance. It's all of this information is pretty much based on, the 20 years of monumental amounts of work that other people have done. So respect to all those people. Unfortunately, it still seems that even if you purchase Doom in 2024, these are the things that you have to do. So Doom 1 and 2 are not perfect. There are many issues with them that are still present in even the most modern purchases, which is totally unacceptable, by the way, because as you'll see, the amount of work that you need to go through, if it takes a 20-minute video to explain, how long does it actually take to do it? So when we speed run it, that's going to be the answer. These instructions should allow you to replicate what is the perfect Doom. Obviously, at the moment, this is whip, so I think I'm just going to add a little whip there, kind of like disclaimer, so no one can say, hey, your idea of perfect Doom is not perfect, but it will be one day. And this is entirely based, again, on pretty much what everyone does. So, I've read these things over and over. These are the things that people eventually do. Fact. They're everything the things what people want to do. Like you see how people start off on their posts and see how people end after a couple of months, and this is what they've pretty much done, or wish they could have done, and just had a shit reply and no help or whatever. So we'll start off with pre-Doom. Pre-Doom's a little bit of a weird one. It takes up the majority of the video, mainly because it's the only one that I ever do an example of, and there's no point going through anything else. So this is where you go down the rabbit hole of Doom once you've played it, and yeah, generally once you've played it through once as a first-time user, you're gonna go down the rabbit hole, learn about the history, the pre-releases, the betas, and everything else. So what you will eventually do is you'll probably discover that information online, or maybe you'll find a user mod like it and you'll want to do it yourself just to have a look. It's just part of the fun, it's part of being interested, and at the same time I also feel that it's part of the weird psychology of people where this is something that they come to expect, that they should be part of the ownership of it. It's being part of the Doom history, part of the Doom community, and part of the hey, wait, this was available? I didn't know about that. It's different for two groups of people, because you've got the new users that discover it later, and then you've got the older users that knew about it from the days that they were available. So I'll boot it up, and this is kind of like the results that you're going to get. Unfortunately, I've completely cocked up because I created this and I didn't bother documenting it. The ideal purpose would be for people to do these changes themselves, and here is going to be as in-depth eventually as, say, Doom 1 is. Which is more accurate to a perfect sort of output. The main thing is we're trying to avoid subjective views, so we're going to need the documentation rather than an automated sort of tool to do the process for people. And then people can compare. So GZ Doom has already done some, and by GZ Doom I just mean like whoever did stuff on the engine, because it's not documented well enough. Like they've already added some of this sort of support and some of the assets and things. Whether they should be in there or not is really irrelevant. That's a different discussion. But you'll notice it on the wiki, and you'll find out about that, and you'll find users that have done similar and blah blah blah. So your end result should be something like this. Your box standard menu with your simple change background and your credits changed, and then you'll have the initial level that you would possibly have seen the 1993 video, I think, or like Windows video release or something like that. An extremely grainy VHS, probably Internet Archive file, etc., etc. So you can have a little blast with this. I mean, again, this is not the vanilla version of Windows. This is like a fully fledged, more differences are going to be most likely the classed as non-vanilla, non-vanilla person, personal subjective change. So here, old slogan changed. Oh, one update for anybody is I fixed the compatibility issues with one of my commands, but I won't show it now actually because I'll detract from what we're doing. Anyway, so that's Doom preview with alpha and stuff. I think that should be about 5 minutes for the video now. Pretty much 6 minutes, slightly over, so I need to improve that down to 1 minute. And then see how long it actually takes to produce all of that content. It's absolutely no information there as to how I did it. However, this is how users will sort of discover it. They'll find the 1993 resources and possibly the 1993 video. They'll find the alpha demo and the beta demo and what's known as Doom Delta, which is, I believe that's the community sort of user project. I can't remember the person's name, but all details will be in the file. So you can kind of see what somebody else has done to get an example, and then you've got your press release, which, believe it or not, to this day still nobody has bothered using Ghidra, or they might have, but they might not have posted the information. But if you just debug and Ghidra that, I guarantee, like, I wouldn't be able to do it because I'm completely shit at stuff like that, but I guarantee somebody would be able to do it. If you search on YouTube for Worms 2 fixing like a 20-year-old multiplayer issue or something like that, there's a guy that explains debugging in Ghidra so well that if you've never heard of the two words that I'm saying, don't know what debug is, don't know what Ghidra is, you'll actually know how to do it at the end of that, or at least begin to start putting some of his tips into practice. So that's really, really cool. And now we get into Doom. This will be a lot faster. So I've updated this recently. There's one thing I actually need to add here, which we'll get to. And Doom should be 56 maps in total. Generally, if you're sticking to vanilla plus I classes, taking aspects from other releases and other, like, say, Doom 64 or Doom on console or something like that. 56 maps in total is because there's episodes 1 to 4, which is Doom Ultimate 1.9. The generally accepted edition of Sewers, which for some reason, I guess it's because people follow the wiki, but they've got it from going E1 to E1M10 from the Xbox map. And to do that, you need to add a line definition to the secret exits to Sewers, and this will be a user's first introduction into Slade and modifying and editing and things like that. So this is probably already taken 15 minutes just to add one map. Like, it's something that you can get done within 30 seconds if you're taught how to do it correctly. Like, literally, I could add one line here to describe how to do it. The reason that they use E1M10, I can't remember. I don't think you can use 0 as a map name. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Information needs to be added. E1M4 is adding the swaps back from, you would have gone through the press release and the betas and you would have seen the differences in the versions, especially if you've been patching, upgrading, downgrading and things by this time. So you want to add that back because it is the original, as it should be. It's, it isn't anything that's meant to be intended to sort of represent hatred towards any community or anything like that. It's just part of the aesthetics that was chosen in the game, and it should be kept there for that reason. So you only need to move 4 lines to be able to put that shape back. Then you got John Romero's B-side maps, which is E1 M4B and E1 8B. Now, common sense would be to hook up E1 M4 to go to E1 M4B, or vice versa if you wanted to do Romero's first, but we'll stick with vanilla. And then follow on to E1 M5. That's no problem. E1 M8 is a little bit different because it's a final episode that we expect to lead to episode 2. Unfortunately, because of that, then this whole new menu system needs to be made and changing the intermission and stuff like that. It makes it a little bit more complex for the amateur user. It's more in the intermediate sort of range. But I've got mine, for some reason, going from E1 M8B. then into the secret level. I think that my reasoning behind that was, if this is the first time that you've ever played Doom and you haven't discovered the secret level by the end of episode 1, then it might be a good idea to educate the user that there is that additional map there. But the problem is E1M9 is then going to go back to E1M4, possibly, which means you end up repeating the entire process. At that point, you can either use commands, which you already need to be educated about to use skip maps and stuff like that. Or alternatively, this would be the better solution, would be to go from E1M8 to B to the end, and then beginning of episode 2. Then you add Sigil 1 and Sigil 2. I think that making a perfect doom.wad would also include removal of all DM maps, because I'm pretty sure, and again I could be wrong because I've never played online deathmatch Doom ever in my life. I'm pretty sure that there's just absolutely no requirement to have those in there for the run through of a single player thing. So we're not talking about loads of data here. It does kind of suck duplicating a WAD or sort of destructing one WAD. But if there's any performance or anything to be gained from this, any benefit, such as the user looking at the map and seeing a deathmatch map built by the side of a normal map and not being aware that it's a deathmatch map, and just really already being aware of secrets and hunting the level and like the history of Doom and get really deep in it by the time you get to Sigil 2, like they might be trying to get over to those places or something. Again, I'm trying to go from this as someone who's never played Doom, never developed anything, never touched anything, which is kind of hard to judge what people's experience would be. But personally, I'd say remove all those maps. I haven't done it myself, but it would count towards making the perfect Doom mod. Doom 2 is pretty much simple. I really haven't looked into it enough, because by the time that you've done all this shit, it's a monumental amount of effort and learning from someone that hasn't got a clue what's going on. So for Doom 2, I've just done your basic episodes, the same thing with the console maps, episode 4 for Nerve. One Humanity mod, I have absolutely no idea where to place that in the roster. I assume it would just be the final map, like whatever number we're up to by there. Or maybe even in order after TNT and after you fix TNT and then Plutonia. So there isn't really much that you need to do with Doom in terms of say map additions to for the official semi-official stuff. But when it comes to the actual sorting and organizing of Doom, it does seem that Doom 1 was a lot more finalized than Doom 2 for some reason. So we've got all the shared fixes that you now require to do the map. I mean, that should pretty much take me up to like 15 minutes. I sort of 20 minutes for this kind of little overview. So individual map fixes, these are going to be obvious. You play a map, or you open up a map in Slade and have a look, and there's incorrect flags and there's bugs and things that are not in the right position. I mean, the developers have already gone a substantial amount of like effort into sort of fixing certain things, but because there's no documentation to the user that just downloads the engines or like Slade or whatever, they don't know that this shit is happening. So if you play Doom in like a different engine where it doesn't do it, it doesn't compensate for these things, yes, it makes a difference. You can't just do it in one fucking engine and not document the changes that are happening. It's no good. So we need to do it manually. You need to fix your positions manually, put them inside instead of outside of the line defs. Hopefully this will fix some issues. Now, it may require some geometry changes at certain points, but I definitely would recommend steering away from any geometry changes, because this is well beyond like the scope of a sort of perfect vanilla plus Doom. If there is an issue that can be fixed, then again it needs to be universally accepted. I can't just say yes, this map E1M6 definitely needs this line def moved rather than having the thing moved, because it's clunky, you get stuck against the walls. Then you have to start looking into node builders and whether that would make a difference anyway. So I wouldn't really recommend any geometry changes unless like a bunch of people say, yes, we definitely need to do this. And if they do, it's a strong possibility that it's already performed within one of the engines anyway in the background, and they just don't tell you. So there's things without reference in Doom 2, which is not the case in any of Doom 1 maps. That's quite interesting. I really haven't got a clue about that. I wrote this guide 4 years ago. I honestly can't remember what I did for that, whether I researched to work out whether they're being used, whether those things are being changed into things, like I don't know what's going on. So to keep things vanilla, you just assume that those things without references never have anything spawn in the map. There is no reason for them. So just remove them for the sake of making a clean WAD, basically. There could be an argument made they should be re-implemented based on any existing knowledge that's available. If someone like John Romero or Carmack said that should have been this, or one of the other American McGee or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Like anyone in a position that would have been touching the levels at any point. Rebuild all your maps. This is something that needs to be done. I don't know whether it's automatically done in engines or not. I'm not going to comment that far. Again, documentation issue. But I think the generally accepted sort of universal approach here is that IDBSP is the original BSP node builder or reject builder or whatever you want to call it. That the better one to use then, say you're not playing in like DOSBox for original Doom experience, you just want a nice clean WAD perfect experience, you should use RMB, and version 3 I believe is the one to use. Now RMB is where I get the dash perfect nodes, where I've sort of, I don't want to say borrowed because they're never going to get it back, but that's where I've referenced Doom Perfect from. This was the whole basis for the idea of Doom Perfect to begin with, was first discovering node builders and sort of, since I wasn't really involved in Doom like 20 odd years ago, I was using the Unreal Engine, like I would have been into polygons anyway. So to then learn that you've got a GL node builder that builds polygons is pretty cool. Does it happen automatically? I can't remember, to be honest. I'll have to check that. Maybe GZ or LZ do, possibly, I don't know. So you'll end up with 3 versions. This would be the original version, which you'd hope if you first practice with node building, it should result in the same result that you had within the WAD originally. And that would confirm that you're using the correct original app. I can't check that. I don't know whether we've actually got access to what was originally used or not. IDBSP is classed as the original. Use your RMB perfect. That's it. You just replace that. Just use that as substandard, definitely. And then use your GL nodes as addition. I assume that you can't keep both in at the same time. There would be no point. So you could have a GL node WAD for polygons. So when you get all the advantages to that, which I assume is just based on however the engine handles it, probably lighting, maybe collision, things like that, I suppose. Maybe the walls, you don't get stuck on walls, sticky walls because they're textured or whatever. Sprite fixes, this is a fucker. I get a whole load of backlash from people that have done this, but if you do enough research into it, the sprite fixes that are available online are not to be trusted. They're not done correctly. They're all 100% subjective. You need that universal standard. There's only, let's say, 3 things that you need to do with it, and I'm pretty sure again the engines already handle that because at some point the devs would have hopefully decided this universally accepted, but it is still not done correctly anywhere. So in order to do correct sprite fixes, the first thing you need to do is reposition them. We'll ignore the fact that it may be done automatically. For now, you just put them in a position. A little diagram for this would be, say your sprite's rotating on the spot. You expect it to rotate around in a circle, but what's actually happening is this is getting moved over on one of the frames, and you end up sort of rotating off to the side for one frame and then moving back or whatever. You'll see it in there anyway. It's like, say you're a pirouetting on your foot as a ballerina, it's like they jump over to the left a foot or whatever for no reason. So that's just your basic stuff. There is automatic things in Slade, I believe, to be able to do that. There's superfluous and junk pixels, and this is where it gets a bit ridiculous because there's been so many attempts to do it, and I've still never seen anyone sort of say this is the correct way to do it. Like, don't bother doing it yourself. Don't waste your time. Download this chick's file or this dude's file, and this is 100% perfect. All you need to do is fix the incorrectly color pixels that originated from the original 3D Clay model images. That's it. That's all you need to do. Get rid of those junk pixels. And there's something to do with Doom file format graphics. Sometimes you get random green pixels or pink pixels or a cyan pixel or something like that. They need to be changed. And then there's things like the Revenant, where the Revenant itself is perfectly visible, say, in the center of the screen, and then for no reason at all, there's a pixel 6 miles over to the left, which actually makes that texture file that size because it has to encompass that pixel. That's really bizarre. So that's as far as you want to go for Vanilla Plus. Everything beyond that is sort of beyond the scope of Vanilla Plus. You could include John Romero's later releases of the sprite rotations. I'm not quite sure whether GZ Doom handles that automatically or LC Doom or Chocolate Doom or whatever. You'd have to look at each individual one, and hence why we need this Doom Perfect guide to be inclusive of that information. Texture fixtures are going to be the same. It gets pretty boring after this point. Everything is as to be expected. If there's missing textures, you want to put them there. But if I put a missing texture in, do I put the same texture in that you would have chosen? Do I download this person's, that person's? It's just an endless variance there that needs to be definitive of. So you've got your doom.wad. We're going to teach you how to use the editor. This is Slade. This is how you replace a texture. Your first example is going to be doing the same thing that everybody else does. Rather than giving you an automated file, you're going to learn it. It's only going to take you less than a minute to do all of this. And you're going to have the exact same map as everyone else with the same binary file and the same SHA-256 sort of checksum and stuff like that at the end of it. There's a couple of bots, pixels, and messed up stuff in there. You'll see it as you go along, but it's a bit of a mission going through all of those textures. So again, great if you've got an automated tool, but if that automated tool isn't documented, then how do you know that what they did was what you would do or what they should have done? Pickups. This is one as well as the monsters, the variety is something that I definitely think should be included in Vanilla Plus. Like, if you own a PlayStation 1 Doom or Xbox Doom or N64 Doom and like PC Doom, why not have all of the available textures instead of looking at the same imp 10,000 times when you play through all the Doom maps? I mean, how many times do you die when you're the first time user and get lost, get stuck, and fall off shoddy geometry and things like that? Just have both. Have the variety for the monsters. It does end up being a little bit like Colourful Doom, unfortunately. But as long as you're sticking to just using the official assets and the variety that's available, that's something that everybody should do. The med kits, I don't understand why people uncensor or censor them. Say, yeah, if you want to do it for sort of personal reasons, like political reasons or something, then fine. But that's not something that should be kept in the domain, in the public domain of the perfect doom.wad. The fact is that there is an uncensored version and there's a censored version, and we've got the ability to use dehacked files. So just use a dehacked file to randomly sort of generate or spawn either the green cross or the red cross, just depending on just randomness. So when you run through a level, you're not picking up every level at the same time, the same red cross. Now and again, you get to see a green one. You can include the bonus speed to cut items here for pick up variety if you want, but I would leave that in the Vanilla Plus domain because I mean, there's some that, like the shell box and the ammo box, makes perfect sense because if there's two different variants of a shotgun shell, then fine, you can add that, that's no problem. But then if you're using, like, for some reason you decide to use the beta pistol box or the beta cell blaster box, like for the plasma gun, but then use that ammo box as a replacement for the rockets because you feel that that's best, then this is all totally subjective stuff that should not be included. It should relate to the items that already exist. And once you finally put all this together, you're going to need to clean the WAD because there's duplicated items in it, duplicated audio files, duplicated texture files, graphics in the Doom 2 file. There's only 21 songs in Doom 2. Yeah, they provide you 30 plus. And I mean, if you've got Doom 1 and Doom 2, then all you want is the 24 tracks that exist. That's it. You don't want the duplicated WADs in there. So you also need to do your menu and your music system and change like that. And this is where it gets a little bit more difficult to kind of recommend a universal standard because it depends what song you want to replace for which map, because they're duplicated, and that's where we need the universal guide to come in. Because if track 4 and track 7 are the same, but I use the music from E1M3 and E1M5 to replace them, and somebody else uses like E1M6 and E1M2 to replace them, then our Doom mods are going to be different, and that's not universally acceptable. So that's a little bit difficult to kind of cover. I mean, I've done it a specific way in order to do the Doom audio ad-lib project, because that allowed me to create a patch file for a WAD that I knew that nobody else would have, because they'd have to duplicate or remove the duplicate files and rename them, the music files, exactly as I had. So obviously I provided a script to do that, but along with the information that the user could just go, well, I don't want to do a script, I want to do it myself. So as long as you replicate that process, you delete all of the duplicated music files, the PC speaker files, things like that, and you rename the music that's used from map 22 to instead like E1M2, not E1M3. And obviously you'll play out the same binary and you'll be able to use that patch file, and you end up with the Doom ad-lib audio project at the end of it. So that's pretty cool. Avoiding automated tools like iWAD Converter or Classic Complete is definitely what I'm aiming at. Don't want people to use an automated tool, especially that has a problem in that you find out 10 years later, or 2 months later, or 2 weeks later after release. I definitely don't want people going, hey, it'd be cool if I could run through the entire Doom games. Well, dude, like, fucking don't be so OCD about it. Just load a separate file. But if you really, really have to have everything all in one and completely clean, because that's what you want, then first of all, are you willing to delete the original Doom mods after it, because you are 100% confident that you have the perfect Doom complete pack at the end of it, in which case it's going to need to be universally acceptable again. Or would you rather have something like iWAD Converter or iSmoosh, but with the instructions for not only you to replicate the process yourself, but to be able to change it if you need to, spot any issues if there's anything there, and even code your own app as well and learn it at the same time and expand your knowledge beyond that of Doom, but still stay within the Doom arena. I know which one I prefer, definitely. Creating patches is not really something I need to cover. That's just a simple case of we have the ability to downgrade from Doom 1.9 Ultimate down to Doom 1.1, but unfortunately we can't go any lower, which means we then can't subsequently upgrade back through the patches. And I think that's something that needs to be done not only for the original Doom, because it's like a massive part of what Doom was 25, 30 years ago, and it's just been missed ever since. But also, I'm the only person that's done it for Android, not the only person who's done it for consoles, and obviously definitely not the only person that's done it for N64, because Kaiser officially did that, with Bethesda or whatever, and whoever worked on the Game Boy conversion, just random community people, I suppose. But the Android's definitely an interesting one. This is something that I think we need to focus on. I was very disappointed to try and play Doom on Android and then find out that for some reason I could not find my original file. So I mean, I purchased it anyway. So like when I went to download it, I was forced onto the most recent update, and I didn't have an option. And obviously, there's no point contacting Bethesda because they don't give a fuck about the end user. They don't even give a fuck about their own licenses. So they just release shoddy shit, like, you know what I mean? So you got no hope there unless the community come together and say, well, I've actually managed to somehow be that one OCD person that has saved a backup on my Android of every single version. Anyway, I think it'd be cool, man, because there might be differences in the WADs, definite differences in the extras files and the UI system and changes. I know for a fact that engine changes happened along the way as well, so there are improvements. Like the old engine works better in Doom Classic than it does in Doom Enhanced. The EXE is transferable between them both. You can interchange them or whatever. So if you own Doom Enhanced, you really want to use the Doom Classic EXE, which is a bit weird. And once you've got all your perfect Doom WADs together, all your engines, everything sorted, all patched up, updated, and ready to go, you can start deciding whether you want to go beyond Vanilla Plus. Now, this is way beyond Perfect Doom, and that's pretty much the end of the crap load. So, 29 minutes, 26 seconds, bang on. I said it would take half hour. So there it is, Doom Perfect. as I believe it should be based on everybody else's information on the internet. I'm hoping I could get it better than that. It's currently 126 lines. I'm aiming for 150 total, and this will include sort of the links to explain the things that actually are listed there, so that they can go, okay, well, I've just read the 126 lines of things that I need to do. And then when they go through step by step for the 20 lines afterwards, or 24 lines in this case, they'll be able to perform all of those changes one by one. A lot of the things that you're going to be doing are going to be easily transferable. Like once you've learned how to use Slade, I don't need to replicate that. Once you've learned how to clean doom.wad, you can apply that knowledge to Doom 2. At the moment, the current state of GZ Doom is not that. I can't comment on anything else, so I'm not really sort of like picking on anyone. The fundamental work that the developers have done is like something to be highly respected, because there is a lot of good work in there. But the attitude and the unfortunately final distribution of the engines and the gated hypocrisy that exists with the community is so fucking disgusting that it ends up resulting in people replicating every single process every single time. People are reinventing the wheel because there's not enough information out there. Essentially, this is the only guide of its kind. I was kind of hoping it would be similar to the UT3 Ultimate installation guide, and if I had one of those guides for every single game that I own, and I mean like maybe not every game I own, every game that I own that I care about, that I actually play, it would save me so much stress. Modern PCs are just shit nowadays. If you're not using Windows 7 and you've got a modern PC, anything up from there, it's just getting worse and worse. We're finding that more powerful CPUs now don't work with old apps because they never expected or coded the app, to be used in that environment. There's all sorts of mad shit going on. But the UT3 Ultimate Installation Guide was obviously the best guide out there as far as sort of making an effort and actually writing it. And it did result in a significant sort of improvement for the end user. So there it is. Doom Perfect. Add what you can, do what you can. Let me know if you can offer any help, if there's anything else you can do. SZ Doom is my engine that I'm using now. It's made with a small instructional file, so that if somebody did want to use it, they can use it for commercial purposes. So the only difference between that and GZ Doom was just the fact that it included the ZD extras. But if the first thing you download and you get is that, you have no idea what it's for. You try and move a file, you try and move the PK3, whatever. The engine crashes because it's hard coded to search for it and stuff like that. And then at this point, for people who have made an engine that essentially you can do a hell of a lot with outside of, but then that requires a massive amount of information, it's a little bit ironic that it would be better to teach someone to use the source code and make the changes in C++ and create their own engine for their purposes, rather than having to have a confusing mess of files. I don't even need a command line to run my GZ Doom. I can put all of my files into the one expected file, just TKBS extras if I wanted. Literally every single file that I load up, all of these. And that's much cooler for me because it helps with compatibility and stuff like that. I guess I'll end on I was trying to type also all the stuff as but I'm also using a similar model you want to do kind of makes me feel like we're not so I fixed that. then secondly, it should then obviously give me all the stuff and then run the load to replace all of the items with all of the unpacked ammo. Unfortunately that doesn't work, and there are some issues with all orders and stuff like that that have existed. Maybe if we can, it may be that was pretty cool. It was really, really funny. As much as and then I and it didn't work. So here we go. What are we? Now we're going to use my super zoomed out map, boy. It's actually the first time I've ever This reminds me of one thing that nobody has ever heard, as far as I know, no one has ever heard. Everybody hates me, but like, don't still mention that I gave you the idea. So it was either John or Hammer wanted to modify this. Rather than modify the automat, you play Pong. It's documented somewhere, it's like on a real thing, it's an official thing, and the code for Pong is obviously a lot simpler than those that exist, or currently exist anyway at least. So if you want to pretty sure Pong might need to be in like the name, so you can use mine as Doom and free Doom with a modified automat that plays Pong in it or just plays various other games. And it's a complete piece of piss as well. So, I mean, I'm a shit loader, I'm not even going to bother doing it. I imagine if it's that thing, I'd like to do it and get it done. It would be like the logs going. You know, maybe there was like life in there. Yeah, I think that's all of it. And I'm pretty sure you don't need to do any of this. You only actually need to do straight away. But they made this entire maze just for fucking annoying. Oh, we got jumped. Cheat. Why is the intermission coming? This is, yet again, Doom Perfect is impossible to make. So it's showing the intermission and then it's dumping me back to level 1. Despite the fact that I'm 100% sure that I've got Doom 1 loaded. Yeah. And then Doom menu at the end. This is why creating perfect Doom is absolutely impossible. So, let's double check the menu, make sure I haven't cocked up. Map info, and that's not the right thing. Wait, what? Oh, did I put my menu system for Doom 1 just in there? Yeah, I guess that would make sense. Yeah, even clear episodes, yeah, that's fine. That's all. There's no errors there, So E1M1 goes to E1M10, and E1M10 goes to E1M1. Yeah, I guess. Do I want it to go back to E1M1 or do I want it to go back to E1M2? It's like if you find the secret and you exit, then you haven't completed level 1. So I've actually done the right thing. But I've put no intermission and it makes absolutely no fucking difference. So that's gotta be some Jeezy Doom bullshit. Which would take like a million years to Google, and since I've just used my electricity and I can't even afford to eat or feed my cats, I can't afford to be Googling shit that I shouldn't be doing. Yeah, cool. Okay, so the menu system is good. Quick fix. Command. Check that I can actually change things. Either onward or forward. One of the things that So this is the my lights, but more accurate. Place where there is no weird noises. Anyway, it's 20+9. The speedrun was not speedrun in the game, if anybody over to make it until I can get my time. Now, I was just going to the first time, played through it, googled some stuff, and then been like, I want to do some. Is that everything? Everything Carol. Wonder if I can take Vanilla Plus. Really good. The other games. Really good. Lost the monster. Where's that? Entering around 4. So this intermission works. Mind control. Ray on grey is really bad. Change that. Right, which means next. Ooh. The next one. Oh wow, I got next. There it says, once you be, yeah, it's doing this thing on your sides. Give you the actual text. I mean, that bug has been using forever. No way around. You have to do all hacking. I now need to do fake intermission screening. Like that. Sweet. I think I'll leave it there. Hopefully going to enjoy it. Games, all loading up E1 M1, find resolution. You can actually make that. Oh boy. This is another example with the light. It's kind of good. I do like this. It's flashing too fast. Right, there's no intermission for that one, so that was it. Shot. Can't deal with that song. It's fucking awful. Wie geht's? Half 9 yet? Cool. Alright, I'm gonna let the cats in. New ending. Boom. Done.